Okay, I'm gonna start the meeting, and if anyone extra joins in, that'd be great. It is February 11th at 7:02. This is the Halls Road Improvements Committee. I'm gonna call to order. First order of business is to approve the minutes from January 14th. Does anyone want to motion that?
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Anyone second?
Second,
Who is
Matt
that?
Merrick.
Matt? Okay. All right. Making notes here. Okay, so I think just to give the BSC gang first priority, why don't we see if you guys have any new information for the next level of work we're doing for phase 2? I seem to be echoing a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hear you echoing, Amy, as well.
Okay. Kurt or Michael, do you want to give us any updates in terms of phase 2 of your discoveries about infrastructure or any DOT stuff, any of that?
Michael's on mute.
you're on mute, Mike.
Yep, sorry. So I was about to say I was going to hand it off to Kurt to give you an update on some infrastructure, sewer, septic, well water sort of constraints that things are hinging on. So I'll hand it over to Kurt.
Sure. So the two items, infrastructure and septic system sanitary. I'll start with infrastructure. Very brief, we have been in contact with DOT, both in Newington and at District 2 in Norwich. Confirmed they have no large-scale projects planned for the Halls Road corridor beyond what they would consider ongoing maintenance type activities, traffic signal work, and those kinds of things that are pretty standard fare.
Shut off these lights behind
For public roadways. So that was good information. So at least we know where we stand in that regard. So no realignments or major changes planned in the foreseeable future for the project corridor. As far as the sanitary issue, we have done research. We've been in contact with various departments, Legislate Health, State of Connecticut, and we have confirmed that there is the availability to permit what are considered alternate type wastewater treatment systems. Critical factor in development of any area is the capacity of either a sanitary sewer system, which we don't have, and the information tells us that for the time horizon that we're considering, we won't have one. So that leaves us with what we consider on-site treatment options, which are what's out there today. Currently, what we consider traditional septic systems, similar to what most folks have at their homes that are not tied to a sanitary sewer system. We have confirmed that the state of Connecticut has and is able to permit what we call alternate treatment systems. And these alternate treatment systems really fall into two major categories. One category is a treatment system that is a packaged treatment system that resides on the property that essentially treats the wastewater soup to nuts. In other words, the discharge from these packaged treatment systems is essentially clean water. Other type of system is what we've generally referred to as almost an enhanced septic system, and there are various types of these. But the bottom line, these systems treat the wastewater with some additional techniques beyond what a traditional septic system is. And whereas they don't change the amount of water that needs to be put back into the environment. They do enhance the level of treatment of the water beyond a traditional septic system. So they afford a little more flexibility in their sizing, their placement, and those kinds of things. So I'm happy to go into any further detail, but the good news is there are options available. These various options would be considered by the developers looking at the property. They're very property specific because they do rely, similar to traditional septic systems, they do rely on the various characteristics of the property on which the system is placed. But that would be something, the details of which would be defined during the site design process, et cetera. So not sure if that's enough detail, Edie. I'm glad to answer any questions folks may have.
I do have a couple questions. So the package system is a fairly expensive tank, more or less, that does all of this soup to nuts treatment.
That's right.
And the alternate enhanced septics are more dealing with groundwater and what they can, how much space they need basically in order to provide the system to work.
That's right.
But my question is, if say pie in the sky, some creative and exciting developer decides to buy up a few properties on the Halls Road area, could he do something that addressed more than one chunk of land? I mean, is this something that, say, an enhanced system could be more like a little sewage treatment section somewhere? Is that how that works?
Yeah, we've actually talked about that. And in my opinion, I think that makes a tremendous amount of sense. I would think that would be permittable. I guess, from an engineering standpoint, absolutely that could work. And I feel that with the proper, whether it be easements, agreements, and the like, something like that would be feasible from a permitting standpoint. Okay. So again, from an engineering standpoint, absolutely feasible. And in fact, really not that complicated. I think the regulators, though, would want to make sure that there was enough agreements in place that should, for example, one of the properties change ownership, they couldn't deny another property from discharging to the system and those kinds of things.
Okay.
I really think from a lack of a better term, a legal standpoint, it could be worked out with easements and those kinds of things.
Okay. And then also just in looking at the geography that we have to deal with, of course, the largest property owner has the area that's the most feasible in my mind of where you could put something like this. But on the north side, we've got a lot of challenges because we have ledge and we have marsh and we have sort of a marshy, swampy, whatever that is over there by the little V road that goes, between Davis and that whole area. And I guess I'm just curious, in looking at it as an engineer, are you seeing properties that would lend themselves more to some kind of septic treatment system than others? I mean, are there some that you say there's no way you could put any septic here or there or there,
Yeah, a few of the common characteristics that are not conducive to septic systems, even some of these enhanced systems potentially, are the things that you've actually mentioned. Areas where we have shallow groundwater. Mm-hmm. So if you think of a septic system, you've got water in and water out. So there are two things that we need to look at. The quantity of water, meaning when we discharge that water from the septic system, the ground that we're discharging it to has to have the capacity to receive that water. And one of the biggest impediments to that is shallow groundwater. Another critical factor is the quality of that discharge. So the quantity stays the same, but with some of the enhanced systems, because we have better quality water coming out of the system, it affords us a little more flexibility, because there's always the concern that even if you can handle the quantity of water, you don't want the quality of the water to impact whether it be an adjacent surface water, a wetland, or a drinking water well. So that's another thing in this area, because there's no public water. That would be a critical consideration when someone is designing and permitting one of these systems. So we need to protect the groundwater resource. So any area of the project site that has shallow groundwater, like you mentioned, wetlands or marsh areas, probably would struggle with a larger scale system. Those sites potentially could accommodate smaller systems. And that's when you get into that capacity analysis. As an example, one small shop or one small living unit versus large facility or multiple dwelling units that have a much higher capacity. That would have to be looked at in detail at the time of design. But we can certainly draw, as part of our efforts, some broad conclusions based on what we already know today about the groundwater and those kinds of things. You mentioned ledge, certainly a concern. One benefit of the package systems, which we could call treatment systems, is even if you have ledge, you could blast out the ledge and put that system in the ground, because it doesn't really rely on the soil of the ground to achieve its end result. So in that case, you're afforded a little more flexibility. The trade-off is the higher expense.
Yeah. And so there's no like off-site system that could happen, or, I mean, I had heard that in Chester, they pushed their septic system. It goes quite far away from that whole creek area that the center of Chester is centered on. That I had heard that they have sort of more of an off-site sewage treatment mini plant, so to speak.
That is absolutely possible. The issue that you run into there is not, again, it's not the engineering, because you could put in a pressure system or a vacuum system and pump the sanitary sewage pretty far distances to wherever the treatment plant is located. At that point, it becomes a matter of who owns and operates the system,
Right.
who maintains the pipe networks and those kinds of things. It begins to transition from a private on-site system into almost like a quasi-public type system. Again, entirely possible, but it begins to approach more of a traditional sewer system, right? That the municipality or an authority maintains, or even like a special taxing district may maintain. It is achievable, but you'd have to put the correct local regulatory entities in place. There'd have to be an entity that operates it, like a WPCA or something.
Okay.
But it is workable, absolutely.
Okay. So it sounds like we've got lots of options that have various issues one way or another, but they still remain as possibilities.
And when you say we, though, Edie, you mean a developer or somebody, an owner of a property, right? Because what we've just discussed for the last 10 minutes really is more pertinent for somebody who's purchasing a property and would like to do something with it, right? So
yes, totally. I mean, the we meaning if we make a change in zoning, we don't want to make a change in zoning if it's totally impossible for a developer or a property owner to take an action on that new zoning option.
right. Although if it's totally impossible and we make the change, there's no harm, no foul, right? I just don't want BSC to be spending a lot of time on something that is money that we should be spending potentially elsewhere on issues that might not be as pertinent for a Halls Road Improvement Committee compared to a private developer or existing owner of a property. That's my only.
Yeah, I've just heard multiple times people are worried about this issue, so I want to make sure we have a sense of it before we start going down the road of saying, you know, we want to improve the road and we want to make it possible for future development to occur here by changing zoning options. So, you know, it's not like we're spending tons of dollars to make sure we know this. And we're certainly not developing any kind of septic system one way or another. We're just making sure there are options that are available. Right?
Okay.
Okay. So does anyone else have any other questions about what?
I just had, would it make any sense for us to look at similar systems that might be in place on the shoreline, just to talk to the towns, just to see if there's any issues after people have installed these that come up, and at least we know about them? Is that?
I don't think it's a Halls Road Improvement Committee issue, Howard. I really don't.
Well, I think it was important to get this into our document and make sure that we know that there are options for future development. And then, you know, that was my concern in getting this master plan figured out. We certainly don't want to do a master plan that's not feasible for future development. That's the only reason to be concerned about this. So, you know, and I have been challenged on that, or the committee's been challenged on that question multiple times. That's why it was important to address it. So we can certainly move on from there.
But wouldn't we also want to know as a town if there's issues that potentially develop after that will impact the town? I mean, wouldn't you want to know that?
Like what?
I'm not sure what. That's what I'm just saying. I don't see, it would seem to me it would be just reasonably just to talk to some towns that have it, just to confirm that there are no issues that impact the town, and they're all related to the developers, so we know that, and we don't have surprises later on, all of a sudden finding out, for instance, that there's an issue with the system, and now the town has to jump in and kind of fix it. Wouldn't you want to know that in advance?
I can't think of a circumstance that you're describing that would require Halls Road Improvement Committee to explore that issue. That's my point.
Yeah, I think, Howard, because every location has a very specific set of parameters to address, and every developer is different, we can't do anything more than know, okay, in fact, it is possible to come up with some solutions if we were to have, you know, residential area within Halls Road. And that's just an important thing to make sure we've looked at. So I think that's key to this. And we can't really, I mean, I know that the Saybrook train station development of apartment buildings, that's all, that's a septic system, right? Kurt, that's.
Yes.
Yep. We actually talked to Old Saybrook. One of the advantages they have in a lot of their areas is very sandy soil. And that kind of gets back to your point, Edie, of, you know, it is very site specific. Every site is unique. And as each site is developed, it would be assessed, and the specifics of the system would be designed and approved on a one by one, you know, individual case by case basis.
Great. Okay. And also, I think that Michael had mentioned last month that the DOT has also provided us or told, not, where am I going here? In talking to the DOT, the sidewalk concepts are things that they are now embracing more than previously, correct? I mean, that's the connectivity grants and the connectivity for the DOT's planning is.
Yeah, connectivity, complete streets. In fact, the community connectivity grant program just increased the value of the grants they give out to $600,000. And I think that's a reflection of the fact that
Right.
they've now got a bit of a track record. So they've seen that these projects are highly beneficial. They're willing to put more money into them. So that's really good news for
Great.
the town.
Well, that's good to know. All right. Does anyone else have questions for the BSC guys here, or should we let them go home and have dinner or whatever? Oh, you are home probably. But
I'd just add a couple of things, Edie, that as overviewing and as for the Federation of Beaches in Old Lyme, we are now finally this month going out to bid of the first sewer project in Old Lyme. Going out to bid this month after 12 years of
Wow.
design and DEP permitting and you name it. We are working with a couple agencies, which is Old Colony, Miami Beach, and Town of Old Lyme, and specifically Townview. The shared infrastructure to Old Lyme, which will collect the waste at the end of the site, which is 2.5 miles long to East Lyme. We had to have a bioxide station. So when we talk about alternate use in a public area, it's dictated by the utilities, and the sewer treatment plant is the number one in major utilities. Whether it's DEP mandated or not, we have to have the plan is, and we have studied alternate plans behind Cherry Stones, a huge infrastructure that didn't work based upon the engineers. So we had to tap into New London wastewater through East Lyme and Waterford. I think if we're talking about anything but a sewer, and I agree with you. I don't think this is a position or a discussion for this committee. The only committee based upon the Connecticut State Statutes 35 that can mandate a sewer and sewer hookup is the WPCA. Rich Pendergrass may be able to help us with this, but I'm not sure if that's. I would think that's outside the scope of our
Yep.
our guidelines here. So I guess based upon what we're going through now down the shoreline and Old Lyme is it's been quite encumbersome, and I might be out of the range of our scope right here of this committee, anyways.
okay, thank you. All right, so I think we've only got a couple other little things to cover, and that certainly don't need you guys to waste your time with that. So we can say thank you to Michael and Kurt and move on to the next item. So
Thank you
thanks a
very
lot,
much.
you guys. Thanks for
Thank you,
joining
everybody.
us. Thanks for your information.
Our pleasure. Thank you. Have a great night.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so item 4, we just need to confirm a couple things, just an order of business. One is, so far we've been meeting on the second Thursday of the month, and we just need to make it official that that's what we'll be doing. Does anyone have any major issues with that, or?
None here.
Okay, so we want a motion to stick with that.
So moved.
Yep, second.
Okay. And then also, I am fine with continuing to stay as the chairperson here. If anyone else has any ideas, let me know. Thank you, Matt. Do we need a vote on
Matt, is that a nomination for Edie?
It is absolutely.
Okay. So I'm not quite sure how that gets done, but we need to decide or,
You should ask for other nominations just to
Yeah.
make it official.
okay, are there other
Yeah.
nominations or?
No.
So moved, AD.
Okay. You guys want to vote on that or
Yes, so,
We,
yes.
all those in favor?
I,
I
All right.
also opposed.
Okay. So next on our list, I just wanted to mention that, actually I was not able to go to the latest planning meeting that was earlier this evening. We did send them some information for the POCD to make sure that they included the Halls Road project. They hadn't yet. We had given them some information earlier in the fall, but we sent them a little bit more information just to make sure that, you know, they are a planning document. So, and the fact that we're doing a master plan for Halls Road seemed important to be on that document. So I believe that they've posted the latest POCD, which I will look at next week. And hopefully they've gotten a little more information about Halls Road in there. So that would be great.
I was gonna
Anyone went to the planning meeting.
I was just gonna say, my reading of it, I don't know if anyone else did read it and look at it, but it just seemed there was nothing in there that would prevent us from continuing down the track we're on. That was my read of the draft anyway.
I think that's right, Howard.
Well, that sounds good. All right, and then we're moving right through here. This is great. This number 6 item is the signage and cleanup update. I think I made an error in suggesting that we have a work party in the middle of the winter. I guess last year winter was so simple, we barely had any snow. And it would have been a great winter to be doing a work party, but this year it's pretty darn snowy and they're not going to do much cleaning up in the snow. So we did try and reschedule to this Saturday, which I'd have to say, not going to happen. So, and I think if any of you guys have invited other people to come to that, please let them know that we're going to have to reschedule when we've got some sort of, who knows, maybe dry spring day. I don't know if that can even exist, but it can get kind of wet in there. But we'll just have to postpone the work party idea. I have also been talking with the signage guy that was getting me some quotes to do the temporary signs for the Hideaway. He gave me a number, but I had asked him to give it to me so that we could make it so if you bought a sign for your company, it would include the cost of the sign itself besides just your one little sign. So he's trying to rework that. I guess he's been pretty busy with some other projects, so that's taking its time. But I'm also not clear what I need to do because I think I need to talk to the property owners before we make any suggestions to any businesses in there to make sure that they're amenable to the idea. So I did finally find Sabrina's name and phone number, which is one of the property owners at the Hideaway, and I will try and reach out to her. I've just finished a big private project of my own, so I've been kind of out of the loop for the last 3 weeks, but we'll get back on this and see where we can go with that. One of the things that came up from my projects I've been working on is I ended up being given 2 beautiful steel park benches that are in great condition. They've always been inside, but they are outdoor benches that can be secured to the ground. And they're sitting in my field at my house right now. and they're turquoise. And I have sent a note to Tim Griswold to see whether he would be up for letting us maybe install one of them down at the end of the bridge abutment on the other side of the barrier to keep you from driving into the river. Because it would be a great place to just go sit, and they're the kind of benches that are very, they're park benches. They're not like little cutesy things. They're very sturdy things that pulled my back out when I pulled them out of the truck the other day. So they're really nice benches. I can send around some pictures of them to you guys, but I thought I would just let you all know that that's an option, and I have two that match, and if we could put two somewhere, that would be even better. So if anyone has any ideas where else a second one could go, and, see if Tim thinks that's a good idea. We'll see what can happen with that. Maybe instead of a work party, we'll have place the bench somewhere with a few sturdy backs, because these things are really heavy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's a great idea. Are they the kind of benches that need a cement pouring foundation or slab?
I think they should be secured to the ground. I mean, some very exciting person could decide to go steal them, I'm sure, but
Yeah.
we certainly don't want to leave them just sitting there. I don't know I'll send you guys pictures of them. They're 6 feet long. They weigh about, 150 pounds as far as I can tell, but they're actually similar to some that we used in our presentation for people to vote on what kind of benches they liked. And, they're real park furniture. They're not like something that's going to rust right away. They're powder coated, and in great condition.
If you're donating, we got to twist Tim's arm to get those installed for you.
Okay. Well, I'll see if he gets back to me. And but that's all I have. Does anyone else have any new information or?
Edie, I reached out to Rich Shriver, and people may have noticed that the nasty bench,
Yes, that is.
double bench, is gone now. So he was kind enough to acquiesce and acknowledge that it was not in the best shape, and probably there was some sort of splinter lawsuit in the future if we weren't careful with that.
So was that from the chamber, those benches originally?
Yes, yeah, they were from the chamber. Yeah, so Rich is the president, and I'm working on the other giant rusty receptacle for clothing and that sort of thing, to try to get the manager to move that back where they had been previously. So it's a prominent feature now on Halls Road, and it had previously been, much deeper into that property. So.
And is so that's on the property owner's property, or is it it's not the Hideaway property, is it?
It's right outside of Andy's where that.
I know where it is, but I'm just wondering, I think that property actually is not the Hideaway's property, but I don't know.
Well, the only other property it could be is the town, and if
there's this
that's
weird
the
little
case,
piece of land that belongs to someone else that's been trying to get the Hideaway to buy their property for a while now, and
that's the triangular. That's Londrigan who owns that piece of property. That triangular one that is like 80 acres, but you can only use like 30 square feet of it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you for getting the benches removed. And so you're in touch with the people that own that box, or?
What's that? No, there's a local manager for the for the Hideaway. So your conversations are more appropriate for the owner. The manager can take care of the clothes for kids or whatever it is.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. There's another one of those over by the Shell gas station, right? Or has that been removed?
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff to get removed over at the Shell gas station. So
yeah,
there sure is.
There's like a weird 55-gallon drum by my property that's been there for the 11 years that I've owned the property, and I think Jimmy Hoffa's in there or something.
Uh-oh. All right. Well, thank you so much for working on that. That's really, really a great thing. I think those Clothes for Kids things are actually all for profit too. I don't think they're even a nonprofit that runs those things. But we shall see. All right. So do we have a plan to, would everyone like to adjourn this meeting now? Unless any other,
Edie, can I just,
Deb? Yeah.
can I just ask a question? Can we backtrack to item 5 on the agenda? For the master plan, submitting it for the POCD, at what status is that going to be looked at? Because the master plan's not done, so how is it going to be included and at what stage?
What it's basically doing is, you know, it's a planning document. It's a document not about what's already been done, but what's to be done in the future. It's not just, you know, we did these 5 things and now it's over and there's no reason to even have that document. It's a document that's recognizing what's going on in the town and what's going to be happening. So to that end, I requested that they note of that in their document. I mean, it's not going to be binding in any way, but it will at least give it some credence that this master plan is being done. It's one of the only planning events happening in the entire town, so it seemed important to make sure that was documented in there.
Okay, so it's just stating, it's just stating that the committee has opted to look into a master plan. It's not giving details.
Well, we're not looking into it. We're creating a master plan.
That's it.
We're not exploring the idea of doing one. We're doing one, right?
We're doing a master plan, which is separate
It's
from.
being funded to do a master plan.
Okay, that's all. There's no details of the master plan, nothing from BSC or anything like that.
No,
okay.
It's not done yet. So
Okay.
obviously it's not
Okay.
gonna be-
Okay, good. Thank you for clarifying that. The other thing is, I wanted to attend the meeting for 99 Halls Road, and so I just looked up tonight to see if I missed the inland wetlands meeting, and I did. It was the end of January, so I did, and I just wonder if anybody else attended that meeting or read the minutes like I did, just to kind of, you know, it's such a
No, I'd love to
relevant
hear
piece of property.
what you found out about. This is the thing that was the possible Big Y.
Oh,
Express.
right. Yeah. Oh, sure. It's well, everybody can look it up because it's the meeting minutes are on there. They had the meeting minute the 26th of January. They had the meeting with the group, the engineering group for Big Y. And I'll just tell you the details. They're going to have 6 dispensers under a protective canopy, 2 double wall fiberglass underground fuel tanks with monitoring system, and the proposed convenience mart is going to be 2,100 square feet. And you know, they're saying that all the stormwater, everything's going to be pitched away. The vernal pools are not going to be destroyed, or you know, no animals are going to crawl out and get squashed by a truck or anything like that. And so the chairwoman decided that they need to decide if this was of significant impact or not, which to me, obviously it is. But they did a site walk. I think that was on the 30th of January. The committee, the chairperson did not attend. She walked on her own, and the minutes from the site visit did not render anything else. So, you know, and if the other thing is, if they do deem it as a significant impact, they need to have a public hearing.
Okay. And so it's definitely the Big Y Express.
Oh, yes.
So
Oh,
very
yes,
interested
yes,
in
yes.
doing
Oh,
this
sure it
work.
is.
It's not been closed down. It's still very much a happening situation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So.
And I reached out to my contact at Big Y, and she said, "Oh yeah, they're ready to go on this." I was like, "Really?" So
I mean, this is sort of the first step for them, right? They've still got zoning to talk to and planning as well.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Right. Right.
Okay,
But anyway, so this was inland wetlands, and that meeting was January 26th. If anybody wants to look it up in the meeting
thank you.
minutes or post it.
Thank you for attending that and letting us know what you found out about it. That's really helpful.
Like I said, Edie, I did not attend. I just thought of it tonight, and I just looked it up, and I said, "Oh, I missed it."
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna try and do better next month, and I'll try and attend that one.
Was
And
that,
from your reading, Deb, no action was taken, right? It sounded like they pushed it off to
Exactly.
determine whether it was significant.
Right, right. No action hasn't taken. And I think actually their next meeting is March 23rd from what I saw on the calendar at 6 o'clock. So I'll try and, tune in then.
Okay, and
what committee was that, Deb?
That was the inland wetlands.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just a very relevant thing to watch,
Yeah.
I think, for this group because, it's going to turn the Halls Road into a truck stop, in my opinion. I'm sorry. But
Yeah, I mean, we've already got one gas station and,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I think
the
Big Y
thing.
would do a better job, but.
Right. I know that's the thing, Edie. It's not like it's a new thing that it would just say, oh my gosh, we can't have a gas station there. We've got one. So, but anyway, so the details are on there, for meeting minutes. And like I said, they did their site visit. So I'm thinking I'm going to maybe text someone and ask them if it was, deemed specific impact or not.
Okay, thank you very much. That's
You're
really
welcome.
helpful. And,
Yeah.
it's been on my mind too. I was like.
Yeah.
Maybe it would be a good idea if the members of the committee are just cognizant of any meetings like that
Yes.
regarding it, to just let us all know if you,
Yep.
yeah, so that we're all kind of,
I'll remind you all.
yeah, it's important.
That'd be great,
Okay.
yeah. Okay,
All right, good. Thank you.
well, that's a lot of helpful information. Really appreciate it. Okay, any other business, folks? Got any things to talk about?
I'll move to adjourn, Edie.
Okay, anyone want to second that?
Okay,
I second. Who's
Okay.
taking the notes anyway?
Well,
Right.
I'm trying to take notes.
Yeah.
Ray, before you hang
Ray
up,
was. I thought Ray was taking the minutes.
Oh, no.
Well, usually Mike Ryder takes the minutes, but,
No, what do you mean? No took notes? All right, let's restart the meeting.
yeah. this is,
Yeah, all right,
this
gotta
has been
restart.
recorded, So I'll have to go back and find the minutes so we can.
Sorry I asked.
Ray,
All right,
before
let's
you
do the
hang
best
up, I
we
want to
can.
be your neighbor. It sounds like you have a lot of great equipment and tools.
I've got everything.
Yeah.
All right, and we'll try and come up with a new plan for a work party. It seemed like everyone was up for it. It's just the weather wasn't cooperating. So I think it's not as much to do as it was the first time around. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
there's really not that much to do there. There's
It's down next to the river that really needs to be cleaned out a bit. And,
Yeah.
But we'll see if we can get anywhere with these benches, and that would be great. They're sitting up in my field right now, so it'd be nice to
Just
have
bring
them.
your tools though, Ray.
Yeah.
yeah, right. I'll bring my cement mixer.
Yeah,
Bring the
okay.
cement mixer and, some
Just kidding.
oil
I haven't got one of
and
those.
stuff, and, yeah, that sounds good. All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Great.
See you.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Okay.
Edie. And, fellow
Okay,
board
bye-bye.
members.
Thanks, Edie.
Thank you.
Thanks.
To this. WebEx, where are you?